This video will give you optimal lineups for week 13 in the NFL on DraftKings. But if you are on FanDuel, don't worry because the results are very similar. I'm Professor MJ and I teach statistics at a Canadian university. I wrote a program with a statistical software that finds lineups maximizing expected fantasy points. So this video is divided into two parts. First, I'll give you good cash game lineups, and later on, I'll present lineups that are more suitable for big tournaments with big prizes. Alright, so buckle up, it's time to beat your DFS opponents. Part number 1, optimal lineups for cash games, which are 50-50 endeavors with smaller payouts. For example, head-to-head matchups, or what they call double-ups. So according to my statistical program, the lineup that maximizes your expected fantasy points in week 13 with a projected score of 143.4 is as follows. But I don't like it that much and I'll explain why later. At QB, we're taking Trubisky against Detroit. We're paying big money at running back to get Dalvin Cook against Jacksonville. We're also taking David Montgomery of the Bears. At wide receiver, we're taking Kiki QT from Houston against Indy, and also his teammate Brandon Cooks. The third wide receiver that we're taking is Robert Woods of the Rams at Arizona. Our tight end is Hunter Henry from the Chargers hosting the Pats. Our flex player is Austin Eckler, still from the Chargers, and our defense is Detroit at Chicago. Now, I do not like the fact that we have two players from the Bears, from the Texans, and the Chargers. And moreover, our defense plays against two of our players, which is not ideal at all. So here is an alternative lineup that's projected to produce slightly less points, but that corrects most of these flaws, with a projected score of 142.7. Our new QB is Taysom Hill of the Saints playing in Atlanta. At running back, we're still taking Dalvin Cook against Jacksonville, and also David Montgomery of the Bears against Detroit. Our three wide receivers are Breshad Perriman of the Jets against Las Vegas, Brandon Cooks of Houston against the Colts, and we're still taking Robert Woods of the Rams. At tight end, this time we're taking Robert Tonyan of the Packers against the Eagles. And our flex player remains Austin Eckler of the Chargers. Our defense also remains the same, Detroit against Chicago. Now, in my opinion, that is a solid lineup for cash games. Part number 2, a good lineup for large tournaments, also called GPPs, for guaranteed prize pool. Now here is how I suggest proceeding when setting up your GPP lineups. Step number 1, you find a good QB wide receiver tandem from the same team by looking at the best bargains from these two positions. Step number 2, pick players at other positions which bring a good bang for your buck. And finally, step number 3, avoid including players that bring negative correlation in your lineup. For example, you do not want a running back from the same team as your QB wide receiver duo. This week, here's a good QB wide receiver combo that can form the basis of your GPP lineups in week 13. I'm going with Deshaun Watson and Brandon Cooks from Houston, especially with Will Fuller being suspended and Randall Cobb who is hurt, which makes Cooks the clear number 1 target. Starting from this duo, I can recommend the following GPP lineup. Obviously, at QB, I'm taking Deshaun Watson against the Colts. At running back, I'm taking Dalvin Cook hosting the Jaguars. I'm also taking at running back Frank Gore from the Jets against Las Vegas. At wide receiver, I'm taking Breshad Perriman from the Jets, Brandon Cooks from Houston as promised, and finally Robert Woods of the Rams playing at Arizona. My tight end will be Trey Burton of the Colts at Houston. My flex player is from the Chargers, Austin Eckler hosting the Pats, and finally my defense is the Detroit Lions playing at the Chicago Bears. Before you go, here is an important warning. By the way, in case you have not seen him in any of my other videos, this is my new puppy, Cooper, a lovely golden retriever that I love. Alright, so here is the warning in question. I am making this video Friday morning. Obviously, many injury news will break out until kickoff, some of which may have a big impact on the expected player projections. So for this reason, the lineups presented in this video may not be optimal. But if you're interested, I can send you directly in your mailbox Sunday morning the most up-to-date optimal lineups for week 13. And that's completely free, by the way. If you're interested, simply sign up to my exclusive DFS mailing list. The link can be found below this video, both in the comments and in the video's description. So join this mailing list in order to crush your DFS opponents this weekend. I'm Professor MJ, best of luck this weekend, and I'm looking forward to get in touch with you Sunday morning. Cheers, buddy!